I grew up watching the bright lights of the Premier League. I'm a Man United fan. I was born and raised on Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo. But until very recently, I didn't watch or follow other leagues at all. Then I started this channel, fell back in love with the game, and now try to follow other leagues as much as I can. Now, I don't think it's a question. The Premier League is the best league on the planet, with the biggest teams, the biggest players, the biggest moments. But it is when I started playing Football Manager and watched documentaries like Sunderland Till I Die and All or Nothing that I actually realized how enjoyable other leagues and other teams are. It's like Lyon, Paris FC in France, Melilla in Spain, which one of my favorite FM creators did a Journey movie on, and many other clubs, right? But let's focus on the French league for a minute. Ligue 1 is ranked 5th in the UEFA rankings, being dubbed by many as the Farmers League. But interestingly enough, since the turn of the century, Ligue 1 has exported the most top talents for big money to the big clubs. You have the legends, Zinedine Zidane, Thierry Henry, Patrice Evra, Claude Makélélé, Didier Drogba. Then you have the superstars, Kylian Mbappe, Karim Benzema, Ousmane Dembélé, Rafinha, Victor Osimhen. These are all players that came up in France, built themselves into stars, and right now play for top clubs at the top level. Or in the case of Karim Benzema, he achieved everything with Real Madrid and moved to Saudi for a big payday. France also constantly produces the best young talents across Europe. Their clubs have some of the best youth facilities, and their national academy, Clairefontaine, consistently refines the nation's best. French players are not just strong physically, they are trained on technique aggressively as well. They don't train under specific ethos like La Masia, for instance, which produces top players to play in the Barca way. Clairefontaine trains youngsters for any system. This is why French talents translate very well to the big leagues, especially the Premier League, which is as physical, if not more physical, than the French league. And the latest player in that endless conveyor belt of talent is Ayyoub Bouaddi. Ayyoub Bouaddi is one of the most talked about young players in Europe right now. He has the biggest clubs in Europe interested in him. Bouaddi is a central midfielder that plays for Lille, who came up through their academy after joining them in 2021, signing his first professional contract at just 15. A season later, he made his debut in the Conference League aged just 16 years and 3 days. He has since played against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and he has shined, looking unfazed and very composed. He has gone on to be a regular for Lille since then. Now, what kind of player is Bouaddi exactly, and how will he adapt to the big leagues in the spotlight? Bouaddi is a very good box-to-box midfielder. He's very good at working through between the boxes, and his best trait, I would say, is his ball carrying. He's constantly taking players on and progressing it forward, and for his size, he is very agile and very nimble at doing this. He's also very good at recovering the ball. He gets the ball back a lot and moves it along himself. Very efficient dribbler. And like I mentioned earlier, Ligue 1 is a very physical league alongside being a technical league. So when you factor this in, his dribbling, take on, and recovery numbers, just as an 18-year-old, are that much more impressive. Bouaddi to me seems like a carry first rather than a pass first kind of midfielder. Think of a Declan Rice and a Kobe Mainoo. Excellent carriers of the ball who are not short of playing the good pass, but would prefer to carry the ball first. Bouaddi is not a tempo setter or a controller like Martin Zubimendi, for instance. He's a decent enough passer. He's good at just keeping it simple. He also has a very good long pass in his locker, but more often than not, he is carrying the ball forward rather than passing it side to side. Now, being a box-to-box midfielder, he is very well equipped at covering ground and tracking players to put in a good tackle and recover. He is not the strongest guy physically, but he is very smart in his movement and his positioning. He's a very good tackler in the final third, which will suit a high-press team when the team pushes up and squeezes the opponent in. I would say he leaves something to be desired in the attacking box as a goal threat, but that's not the kind of player he is yet. But he also leaves something to be desired in the physicality and the aerial side of the game. But we have to remember, this kid is only 18. So there's so much more development ahead of him. That's why it is crucial that he joins the right team with the right project. So what is his ideal role? To understand this, we need to talk about what Bouaddi is not. He is not a creative midfielder. He is not a defensive midfielder in the pure sense. What he is a very good ball carrier that works well in the midfield three of a creator and a deep midfielder alongside him, or one of the pivots in a two-man midfield with his midfield partner being a very good defender out of possession. So where should he sign? Let's look at 3 teams that he could potentially fit into. The strongest links for his potential transfer are with Arsenal, one of the most exciting projects in Europe and a win-now team that has a complete squad ready to win everything. Arsenal have a very settled team right now. The defense is bedded in, the midfielders are complementary to each other, and the attackers are fit and firing except for Victor Gyökeres right now. But if Bouaddi signed, how would he fit into this Arsenal team? I personally think Arsenal have got an incredible blend of creativity, carrying, and goal threat in that midfield, and of course, defensiveness. And Bouaddi's not a player that you keep on the bench and give charity minutes to. These are key developmental years for him. He has to play. Besides, Arsenal have pretty much his exact profile in Declan Rice, who I think is the most complete midfielder in the Premier League right now. They also have youngsters like Max Dalman and Ethan Nwaneri in that midfield. I doubt that Bouaddi would be a game changer for a title-winning team right now, for a win-now team, and the only player that you can take out here realistically is Odegaard, who is the team's creative hub. So you're thinking of the creative player for another carry-first player. So you're going to have two ball carriers in Declan Rice and Bouaddi. But eventually he can be a creator, potentially. You can't really shoehorn him into one type of player yet. He's developing a lot, so he can be a decent player. He can be a decent creative player. So in this aspect, it can be a decent move. But is it a good move for him to join a win-now team? Look at Nwaneri and Lewis Kelly. Very good young players at Arsenal who barely see the pitch, and I understand why. You cannot risk losing games in such high stakes, right? You want to look to your senior players and your more established players in these cases. So I wonder if Bouaddi would be in that same scenario if he joins Arsenal. PSG is a team that has come up in leaps and bounds since the Mbappe years. PSG have very good young midfielders in the team right now, and João Neves and Zaire Emery, anchored by Vitinha, who is right now one of the best in the world. They also have Fabian Ruiz, a Spanish international, who is playing at an absurd level right now. A PSG move would make sense logically. Champions of Europe, champions of France. It would be a relatively risk-free signing. He would get the minutes he needs, and he would develop nicely in a familiar league and a relatively familiar environment. So in that sense, it looks like a good move. But does he get ahead of Fabian Ruiz and João Neves right now in this team? I don't think so. And PSG, like Arsenal, are not exactly a project team, but they do have a habit of developing young players under Luis Enrique. They're a win now and a win in the future kind of team. So for now, it seems like a good move. You know, join PSG, grow in a familiar environment, develop as a player, get the big money move later on at 22 or 23, and then, you know, go on from there. It makes the most sense. Luis Enrique has been trusting the youth at PSG. I mean, look no further than Desiree Douin, Bradley Barcola, even Seny Mayulu. They have the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, Ousmane Dembele, and they continue to build one of Europe's most elite projects. If he were to leave Lille, PSG makes the most sense, at least right now. Now, City is a bit of an interesting one. I have not seen links to Man City yet, given the fact that they have just signed Tijani Reinders in the summer, but I think it's an interesting one to look at. So, Pep, for all his glory, is not known for throwing players into the fire, unless their name is Lionel Messi. He beds them in slowly but surely, and then, until they earn his trust, they're probably going to be in and out of the team. Look at Phil Foden, super talented guy, and after being in and out of the City team at the start of his career, at now age 25, 26, he is now flourishing in this team, even winning the PFA Player of the Year award in 2024. A creative outlet for the team. Look at Ryan Cherki, slowly but surely growing in influence in this team, and lately he has hit an incredible run of form. Look at the younger guys like Nico O'Reilly and Rico Lewis. O'Reilly in particular came up as a midfielder, but in the absence of Ayyoub Bouaddi, he has been playing left back to an incredible degree. He even scored a goal at the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid just a few weeks ago. So where would Bouaddi fit in this team? City have a balanced midfield, Nico Gonzalez anchoring, Silva and Reinders just ahead of him, you know, Foden being the creative hub in that midfield. Reinders and Silva are kind of like all-action midfielders, and Nico is the hub of it all at the 6. But Bernardo Silva is getting on in age, and Reinders started well, but he has been inconsistent since. Cherki is incredible. You could argue that he plays as a double 10 system alongside Phil Foden, but he is coming off the right wing right now, drifting inside and combining with other midfielders. So if Bouaddi were to join, he would fill a clear gap in the City team. He would slot right in alongside Foden and Nico. A young, exciting project with exciting players. However, City might not be a sustainable club for his growth. Like, we don't know what's happening with Pep. Is he staying? Is he going? We don't know yet. So would it be a bit of an unstable situation? It seems like too much of a risk for Bouaddi at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. This, I think, is Bouaddi's best option right now. Just stay at Lille. It is a World Cup year. He is a guaranteed starter for Lille, and he has Morocco and France fighting for his international allegiance. He's developing really well in Ligue 1 right now, so it's a big risk to just leave that and join a team where you might not play as much. I think this is a conversation that we can have later on in the year, like the conversation of his transfer, you know, after the World Cup, because then he won't be risking anything. He will still be young, and if his move to one of the big teams mentioned above doesn't work out, he can bounce back and build himself up again. So I personally think he should stay for now, see out the season, potentially play in the World Cup, and then move afterwards. But what do you guys think? Do you think he should sign for a specific club, maybe a specific system, or do you think he should stay like me? Let me know. And thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.